Hey everyone, welcome back to Jordan Lee Tarot. I have three decks for today's reading: the Earth Alchemy Oracle, say that 5 times fast, the True Love Oracle, and the Midnight Magic deck. So, with this reading, I pulled the first two decks and I grabbed the Midnight Magic deck because it appeared in my mind's eye, and I knew that I needed something a little bit more to ground this reading for my purposes of just reading as in depth and thorough as I can. So, the exciting part about this reading is it is a love reading, but it's not a traditional message of love and partnership. The whole romantic side of this is almost assumed. What we do in this particular reading is we step into divine purpose of two aligned souls. So, at the top of the reading, we have the yin and the yang. So this is that really beautiful balance between masculine and feminine energy. And I am getting a very distinct feeling that this is two separate people. Okay. Take it as it resonates. It always could be a mirror of something that's going on just within you at this time. But as I'm being pulled to explain this, especially with the compatibility card that came out, this does feel like two separate people, but it feels like two aligned people who are really excited and kind of have that moment where they go, "Hey, I recognize you," as they come into physical colliding with one another and get excited about actually doing what they're meant to do in the world, but they help one another. And we have more than one divine partner. We have different people that can play different roles. People can, I don't want to say blink in and out of contracts, but again, contracts can be changed. People can decide to not work on your soul contract in this life and put it off for another life. And that's why you have these people that you have these intense connections with, and then they're here and then bloop, they're gone. They couldn't come into proper vibrational alignment with you in this life, and that's okay. They will try again in the next life. So if you're someone who's experienced a lot of that disappointment or have seen the cycles of that, just continue to work on yourself, and the right person who is at your vibrational frequency will find you. Okay. And I say that as someone who's kind of suffered through some of the self worry of like, what is wrong with me? Right. But I think it's just that sometimes you have to go through a lot of different people. The more you learn and grow in the spiritual world, the more specific your energy hums. And so to find someone with that same resonance, it is a little more specific. So it just takes a little bit more time. And I just want to go off on a slight tangent and say that sometimes we could be holding the vibration of wealth, of love, of prosperity, of complete contentment and joy, but our external environment does take time to catch up with that. And the key is to not fall out of alignment and to just hold that energy as strong as you can to say, I know it's coming, it just hasn't shown up in the physical yet. And that part is the part that no one talks about, the long hold. The long hold. It can be very taxing, very difficult, and cause probably some of the most frustrating almosts um, that I've experienced in my life, but that I've realized, and worked through. Like, oh, you have to hold this energy. Sometimes it takes time. You can't fall back into frustration because you're going to get out of resonance with the thing that you truly want. So, not to say that you actually lose anything that's meant for you, but you can delay it. And if you're already frustrated with timing, as I can sometimes get, as I'm sure most people can, the key is to hold steady with that energy. So, this partnership is one of spiritual maturity where I think the wounds of worthiness that are predominant in a lot of the soul connections, that's not really an issue here. The worthiness wound has been worked through by both of you, meaning, you see your value, you see it in terms of what you can offer another person, but you also see it in terms of like, I'm an awesome person. I've done a lot of work on myself. So this is a collective of people who have done that work. And I think, again, that's what I tap into are the people who have been doing the work and are frustrated at different points in their journey, as I have been, as I sure I will be in the future. It doesn't end, right? It just changes form. And you're trying to manifest new things or trying to tap into new things. And So anyway, the cards that came out that really, really blew me away um, were this is pink chalcedony. I always want to make sure that I say these correctly. And this one is self-expression, life is our canvas, creativity. So this to me feels like that feminine aspect. Okay, it actually looks very feminine with what looks to be eggs in there. And this is the obsidian and hellebore shadow mirror, deep healing, understanding, seer. And both of these cards kind of said the same thing, that the light is within this darkness, this shadowy darkness. And the darkness is within this seemingly pretty pink image as well. And so it actually felt like two separate people that have those pieces of one another within them. And they recognize that in one another. So this is a partnership that doesn't have judgment over the darkness or, frustration over the light. I've also had people in my life that have been very frustrated by my light, or just said, oh, I'm not worthy, or oh, put me up on a pedestal and just run away because they can't handle that. All that is a cop out that they don't want to step into that highest energy for themselves. That's all that is. It's not a cruel way of saying it. It's just, oh, you ran away from it because you're not ready to embody it, and that's okay. But something within this particular partnership, this beautiful yin and yang, because again, in this photo, you have the yin and yang symbol, which most people know, but the darkness and the light kind of intermixing within one another, that there are pieces of the other within both, is very, very beautiful and speaks to that compatibility here, that this is a match. It's actually a vibrational match, and one that can hold that frequency and become a long-term investment for you. So the Two of Wands card, I actually started looking up some of these cards. This is from the Midnight Magic Tarot deck. And I laugh at some of these images because this looks disgusting, if I'm being honest with my eyes, right? But this talks about the bleeding tooth fungus that grows beneath the trees, and they form a very beautiful symbiotic relationship within nature. They help one another out. And so this is a partnership, disgusting visuals aside, that that is not only compatible, but one that you help one another out in the ways that you need it. And this feels like healing deep wounds just by being yourselves. Like finding this person will give you something in your life that you've wanted for a very long time, maybe something that you've never even had, but you've always wanted. Um, and vice versa. You're going to offer them something that they've always wanted. And it's not going to be something that you're acting at or playing at. It's just you. It's just who you are. And they're like, oh my gosh, that piece of energy that I need in my life is just within this person. And so if I come together with them in a life, they can not only provide me with the energetics of that thing that I need, they can, by proximity, show me how to integrate that and bring that without of myself, if that makes sense. So, maybe it's that deep softness that a divine feminine can embody. And so many men have trouble with that. They really do. The masculine energy has a lot of difficulty with that because the world really uh, beats them down if they don't. It's a very tough energy, I have to admit. And so, these videos of men coming home and just like being hugged and held by their wife, right? They need that softness to counteract what they deal with most of the time. And to be able to embody that more in their life is healing to them. Hopefully, to the point where they can be in more circles and more places where they don't need to armor up, right? Having male friends who you don't have to be a tough guy around. These are just like very basic examples, but I feel like there is a you give, I give, but we're not like actively struggling to give because it's just who we are that works here. Very, very balanced setup. So the Knight of Swords, I wanted to read something from the book on this, and then the Queen of Wands. But this feels like your two energies. This feels like the feminine energy, and this feels like the masculine energy. And then to wrap this up, I'm going to explain more of this, but the cards that I pulled was the Page of Wands and then the Lover's card. So there's a lot of red here besides this card, but I want to read this and just get a little bit more because of the fact that this deck, they tied in with the energy of these mushrooms. And obviously, that's a very special, very specific message that isn't based in just the tarot. So for the Knight of Swords, represents a person who is highly intelligent but craves stimulation or becomes bored easily. Balance this card with compassion and foresight. It could also signify acting bravely on daring proposals. So this is intellect, focus, and ambition. This is the most energetic card and embodies extreme and brazen survival tactics. Like a knight in armor. Oh, that's fun. Like a knight in armor. The zombie ant fungus. These are wicked. The zombie ant fungus infects and uses the hijacked corpse of its victim as its armor and mobility to propagate. So this feels like the energy of somebody who has gone through it and really had to use their trials and tribulations to rise above. And, though it's gross, right? That sounds gross. You're kind of in awe of that. And so this feels like someone who's built themselves back up after a lot. This Queen of Wands card really does feel like it is signifying the feminine energy within this. This is again why I'm feeling that this reading is two separate people, because it's kind of separating it out, like this card and this card, this energy together. The luminescent panelist glows within the ethereal green light while perched in high thrones of deciduous trees. Representing the Queen of Wands, this bioluminescent mushroom shares the same authority and charms as a vigilant matriarch. This is mama bear energy. I really get this feeling that there is someone who is just battle worn, and there is a mothering energy here. And when I say mothering, I don't mean like weird smothery energy. I mean just loving maternal energy that we always say you don't want to mother somebody, right? That is gross energy. But just to love and care and nurture as a maternal energy does, we do that with our friends all the time, right? We've done that with our younger siblings, with our younger cousins. This energy is not bad, even when it's applied in a loving partnership. The point here that lets me know that this is a good thing, that this is the healthy version of the sharing of those two energies, is the spiritual compatibility and the yin and yang. This is not a weird mothering energy of a woman to a man. That's not what I'm getting here. So let me read the bottom part here. Ambition, benevolence, authority through compassion. Infuse your goal with ambition and confidence. Thoughtfully tap into the beneficial lessons from your community and shine with genuinely strong and balanced compassion like the benevolent leader you are. So this feels like a woman, a feminine, who is very, very sure of herself and has been through the ringer herself and has given herself authority over time and mastered a lot of things here. Because again, there's the spiritual maturity card that they're both here, I think, just for the visual, but both of you have done this and reached the summit. But now you're here together and you're going to start doing that journey again as a couple, and it'll go much faster, much more efficient because you have the support of your loving, balanced partner. But this person, I mean, this is that loving mother energy that I'm going to explain this in terms of like an example. I've seen this on social media, right? Certain symbols and ways to let people know in public if you are in a dangerous situation that you want help out of. There's like hand symbols you can do in the front or even in the back. And people are learning more of these things, or even just to be on the lookout if there's any weird hand gestures that are happening with a woman and a man together. And, that a woman would come over and like check on another woman, or the understanding that if you need to break away from a situation, run over to another woman and say, "Oh my gosh, hi, it's been so great to see you again. This is crazy that we're both on the same street." The other woman will play along, right? Will snap into, "Oh, okay, there's something wrong here. I need to pretend so we can." There's that maternal, loving, I got you energy here in this card. And while that's beautiful, in the example that I just expressed, I think this is actually a masculine energy who really needs some of that loving maternal compassion. And there is a feminine who is very naturally poised to offer that. And again, not in a weird way. Okay. So the Page of Wands, this message I also wanted to read because I did pre-look at some of these things. The Page of Wands card. Let me see here. Okay, that's what it was. So this is the pink burn cup. That is the name of this mushroom. The Page of Wands represents limitless potential, reunions, and good news. The pink burn cup similarly represents renewal in precious, bright pink gatherings emulating from burnt soil. Their appearance brings with them the chance of a flush of desirable burn morels. Okay. The idea is conceptualized in your vigorously creative mindset, and you are a fertile environment full of seeds of inspiration and potential. Don't be afraid to go for it. So, this feels like the potential of what happens when these two energies come together, and we have this with the Lovers card. This feels like spirit going, "This is good. Huzzah! I bless it. Go forth, be fertile and multiply." And again, this could mean children. This could mean opportunities. This could be divine purpose that is just caught on fire in the best possible way. Um, this feels like a couple that has divine purpose to help their community, to become pillars of their community, to organize, you know, different food drives, to be a part of their church organization, to be a part of their coat drives, to be a part of even like the schooling and some of the things for children who need help and support. I'm looking at this like this wonderful loving couple that does things together in their community, but they're not only helping, they might have the money because of what they're doing in their work to support one another, right? And this totally feels like a power couple that not only is he bringing home the money, but she is too. And they are using that money to help their community. But at the center of it all, there's this deep, loving support for one another and no judgment over the past, over the other person's humanness that comes out during moments of stress. None of that is present here. This feels like such a beautiful union. And I kind of like that Spirit did not go into the lovey-dovey romance of how this will come together. I think Spirit's just like, blop, I'm putting this here. This is destined for many people. This kind of union is destined for many people. And you're going to notice a calmness to being with this other person. This feels very calm to me. There might be intensity when you meet this person, and there is certainly intensity when you guys are alone and coming together in a schmexual way. But out in the world, you guys are a calm, loving couple that people just look at as like they get shit done, you know? Um, People can laugh at me if you guys want, but this is giving Chip and Joanna. Okay, they've done wonderful things with their energy coming together. Um, that, you know, they're playful, they're fun, they're goofy, but they've done a lot for their community. And her energy and his energy coming together, that really maternal, loving energy that she has with his kind of, he's a goofball, really. But it, you know, when we started to see them on television, we hadn't seen through half of the years of their grittiest times. And I'm sure that there was a lot of heartache and pain and financial stress that went along with their beginnings. So I really understand this to be a partnership that can be replicated along many divine partnerships. So this isn't just one couple. This isn't me explaining how you're going to meet this stud muffin. This is me saying, this is here for you. If you have seen this reading, this energy, this power couple energy that is very specifically tied to setting the world on fire with this feels like a sacred burn. Um, and I look at this as just like your power, your excitement, and your love for one another spur you forward. And this is almost like if you've ever had a partnership with another person and you're working on a project, and kind of like when you feel like your energy runs low, like they can kind of like be like, hey, we're going to do all this, that, and the other. And you're like, great, I'm not even thinking about that right now because I'm kind of burnt out at the moment doing what I was doing. So when you have two people, the energy of something bigger that you're trying to build can continue. The momentum doesn't have to stop. And I see that being driven forward. You guys help each other. This is the opposite of they bring out the worst in each other. This is you bring out the best in each other. And it's going to set the world on fire in the best possible way. All right. Well, I hope this message had value for you. I love that I got to do a love reading. Of course, Spirit didn't let me get into any of the gooey romance stuff, but this message just feels like it's connected to Source in this very direct way that will offer a deep sense of contentment for years to come because it's a sacred union that's brought together by purpose. And so this is even purpose above and beyond having children, which is a deeply sacred calling. But again, at a certain point, sometimes the feeling of like, oh, well, I guess that journey is over, right? They're 18, they're out of the nest, which is rarely the case anyway. But, you know, people start to pull apart at that point, right? If they don't have much else in common once their kids are going to college. This is not that. This is two people who are just really, really obsessed with doing things together. They're maybe not obsessed with each other because it doesn't come across as like this doesn't come across as a guy who is just like so obsessed with this woman. It's not like that. It feels more like I want to do this cool thing. Do you want to do this cool thing with me? And the other person's like, hell yeah. And then they're both like, wee. And then they're, you know, like two kids, they're excited. They get to skip off, excuse me, into the sunset, which is what I'm going to say this card is. Skip off into the sunset, excited to be together and excited to get to heal the world with their own magic as they come together. So this is even crazier and more awesome than something gooey and romantic. It's both. You know, this beautiful thing that you're going to build is only brought out of the fact that that romance, that gooey romance is already there. It's like deeply ingrained within you. So you don't need to not saying that there won't be PDAs and things like that, but I see this as more playful and then maybe more sensual when you're behind closed doors. So again, that's why I was getting that Chip and Joanna energy that they're kind of silly, but like it's playful love. And that's what this feels like, playful love out in the world, healing the world, no judgment in the partnership. And you're ready for it because you know that you're worthy and ready for this divine love. All right. Until next time, everybody, have a beautiful day or night. Mwah.